It's my pleasure to introduce to the podium class of 2017's valedictorian, Catherine Burns.
Good evening, class of 2017, and congratulations. And good evening to all of our teachers and coaches, family and friends. Thank you for being here today and every day leading up to this. It was you who cheered for our triumphs and helped us through our failures. You who challenged us and supported us. You who guided us and now sends us off to set out on our own. We could not have made it here without you. And we made it. My fellow graduates, how does it feel to be in cap and gown today? We've spent the last 4 years of our lives in this school. It's been our home for the past 720 school days as we prepared for this day, for this ceremony, for this walk across the stage. A transcript and a diploma are the traditional hallmarks of completing high school, but when it comes down to it, we can all agree that grades don't capture the full picture of the times we've had in those locker-lined halls. They don't capture the lives we lived in between the tests that they represent. So how do you quantify everything we've experienced these past 4 years? In pencils sharpened down to nubs or pens run out of ink? In notebooks filled with scribbles all the way up the margins? Or deep musicals and math competitions, history tests, homerooms, in APs and DBQs? On the resumes we sent out to schools this past fall, we did our best to measure the high school experience. And I don't know about you, but looking at that sheet of paper, I couldn't help but feel that it didn't do justice to all of the incredible things we've seen and done here. There's just no way to convey the vitality of 4 years in a few small boxes, a couple hundred words, and some multiple choice bubbles. I believe that this is because the very essence of the high school experience comes down to the things you cannot quantify. The friendship, the discovery, the clubs we joined, and the jobs we worked. The relationships we built with our teachers, coaches, and each other. And the questions, much more so than the answers. We came in with different ideas of what high school would be like, of who we were and who we would become at the end of those years. And undoubtedly we leave still wildly different, with unique ideas about all of these things. Yet now, as we leave, we also leave sharing something. We leave all able to recall the familiar sound of Mr. Jeffrey's voice first thing in the morning, and the clarion ring of the bell as the last thing in our day. Thinking back, we can still feel the crush of the crowds at the football games, and the bitter cold of that long walk up from the junior lot. We can all still remember the smell of the Geo store when cookies are baking, and unfortunately also that of the locker rooms after gym class. We suffered together through the stress of final exams and the paranoia of ambush. These shared experiences bound us together as a class, even as our disparate interests distinguished us. For me, it was the track team, but every one of us managed to find a place for ourselves within this school. Whether your afternoons were spent eating bonus donuts in Mr. G's room, playing ukulele in the lobby, or discussing current events on the 3rd floor, they were spent in good company. We each found for ourselves a place where we felt welcomed, valued even. A place we could put our minds and talents to use. From the hot summer mornings and cool fall afternoons to the chilly winter dusks and bright springy days, the years flew by. We went from eager freshmen dressing up for Halloween to impatient seniors dressing up for decision day. It's come in a full circle, I feel. For me, at least, it's fitting that it should end here on this track where it all began 4 years ago, that June after 8th grade for the first day of cross-country practice. 12 seasons later, and I find myself wondering where all that time went. Sure, freshman year, high school was a slightly terrifying place. We worried that we'd forget our locker combinations and hoped our school supplies weren't too lame. But then there was this gradual change that I didn't realize was happening at the time. I didn't notice it at all, really, until one day during track practice, on the way back to school during a long road run. As we neared a familiar landmark, I turned and said to my teammates, "We're only 2 miles from home." And at that moment, I realized it was. A home, that is. A place you can always feel welcome and surrounded by people you care about and who are looking out for you. We all found different homes and communities to be a part of within this same school. Here at South, there's a club for every hobby, anime, fishing, math, and an acronym for every cause, SAM, WAC, and VASA. We surrounded ourselves with people who shared our interests and goals. Yet even across these groups, we formed connections and built one another up. The dance team performing at football games, art students painting murals and sets for the school plays. Through these past 4 years, we've supported one another, and I truly believe we're the better for it. Being only 17 years old myself, I have little, if any, wisdom to offer you, and certainly no more than the next graduate. All I have to share with you are the lessons I have learned looking back on my own experiences. Coming into high school, I was quite shy, and like many freshmen, unsure of how I would fit into this huge new world I had just entered. However, I can say with great pleasure that this fear was entirely unwarranted, because I found a home here at Clarkstown South. I was met with nothing but endless support, friendship, and kindness from my peers and mentors. So going forward, that's what I wish for every one of us. My hope for the future is that wherever you go and whatever you do, you are able to find or make for yourself a home there. As we enter this next huge new world, don't be afraid to go forth with an open heart. If you do, you can be certain that wonderful friends will find their way to you. So once again, here we are at the end. A valedictory speech is a farewell address, but even though this may be the last time that we are gathered as a whole class, I wouldn't say that this is a goodbye speech, more of a see you later oration, because I want to see all the amazing things that you'll be doing across the rest of our lives. This is really only the beginning. So see you in a decade as we're just beginning our careers and exploring the world for the first time. See you in 20 years when you're all the future artists, teachers, pie makers, and Nobel Prize winners I'm sure you will become. So to the Clarkstown South graduating class of 2017, I say good luck and see you later.